Thank you. Good evening, folks. We'd like to call the meeting to order. We'll start off with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the town clerk to give us roll call, please.
Councilwoman Albrecht. Here. Councilman Mazzella.
Here.
Councilman O'Hanlon.
Councilman O'Hanlon?
Here.
Councilman Reifenberg.
Here.
Supervisor Del Vecchio.
Here.
Town Attorney Emily Svensson.
Here.
All present.
Thank you very much. Motion to adopt the agenda as is.
So made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
A receipt, acceptance of the minutes of the meeting on 11/21/22.
I make a motion to accept those minutes.
Do I have a-
second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All correspondence is on file at the town clerk's office, and we have no oral reports to present at this point in time. You want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we go into a quick executive session for 101.5F for personnel and for a quick attorney-client privilege session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So we're just going to step outside for a little bit. Please be patient, and we'll be back. We up?
I make a motion that we come out of executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, before we go any further, I would like to read a statement pertaining to the Festival of Lights. I would like to start by saying the unfortunate event that took place during the Festival of Lights celebration on this past Saturday was in poor taste, inappropriate, and just out and out wrong. A sign of that nature should never be in an event for children, and it is extremely unfortunate that it has been the focus of what was a very successful event. There were many people who worked very hard to make the Festival of Lights a special town event, and they should be applauded for their efforts and thanked for giving of their time. It was a great event. And all the people, everyone should be talking about how great of an event it was, instead of focusing on the negative. At this point, I would like to apologize to all those who did hard work on the festival. Your time and efforts are greatly appreciated. If my public statement was at all disheartening to you, again, my sincere apologies. That being said, there is an ongoing investigation as to how this happened, events surrounding the festival, who's responsible, what punitive actions will be taken, and more importantly, how to prevent it from happening again. I'm seeking the help and the guidance of our Ethics Committee as well as our Supervisors Committee to look into several aspects of the issue and the events surrounding the festival. Please refrain from any further personal attacks, assumptions, or character assassinations. They are not helpful at this time and only make matters worse. If you feel that you need to comment, the comment section of this will be later on this evening, and it'd be better if I would highly suggest you put it in writing. Thank you very much. Okay.
I make a motion that we open the meeting to the public for new business and old business for agenda items only, for one time only.
Agenda items only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good evening. Commissioner Albrecht, Pleasant Valley Fire District. You got the information. I have all the calls and everything that we talked about is on the papers that I handed out to everybody, or my wife did. On November 10th, 2022, I sent a letter to the board, which was read 4 days later at the November 14th meeting. Unfortunately, on that day, the 10th, two personnel from the EMS division met with Secretary Jen Adams, who was on the phone with Mr. DeVecchio about 9:30 in the morning on the 10th. That morning, Commissioner Lawler and my phones were blowing up. Mr. DeVecchio called us. We called him back and talked to him together. She happened to be at the shop when I was asking the questions. His first question was, "Are you disbanding the EMS division?" And our response was responding, "No." And unfortunately, who informed him that? The Board of Commissioners is very upset and concerned that the town supervisor would entertain the rumors from two members of the rescue squad that are not authorized to represent and speak on behalf of the commissioners. Commissioner Lawler and myself have met and spoke with Supervisor DeVecchio on at least 5 different occasions. On November 14th, at a special meeting, which I was not informed of, it was open meeting, conversation was had again about the ambulance. Barbara Oakes was the person, she's on YouTube, so I can use her name, was with false information, was asked by someone to come and speak on behalf of the EMS division, again, unauthorized to do so. And now, there's yet another meeting tonight for the same EMS thing we've been asking for. The Board of Fire Commissioners have spoken with Supervisor DeVecchio for help and would like to know what exactly is going on with the ambulance service. Because of all this misfortune being spread around the Board of Commissioners, we asked Councilwoman Albrecht and Councilman Mazzella to attend our meeting on November 21st, which we sat down and hashed out some better hours for the townspeople to make it easier on you guys, town people, and our EMS division, which is, suffering from all the extra calls. Now, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, the calls were 500. Now we're at over 1,000 already. Obviously, you see the numbers. So we're asking for your help for the EMS to, cover more hours. And I don't know if it's written on there, but we're asking from 5 in the morning until 7 at night during the week, and on the weekends, 9 to 5. So that's what the board is asking, and we'd appreciate anything you can do for us.
Thank you very much.
We're going to cycle back this into conversation, so I'm sure that, stick around.
Good evening. Michael Kelsey, property owner, 243 Hibernia Road, also a former county legislator. I'm just here tonight regarding the Taconic Hereford trails. I've requested a copy of the unit management plan, so I have not received it, so I have not read it specifically. But generally, I wish to just issue a general objection to the trail closures. I'm a longtime user of those trails, and in this day and age, we need more trails, not less. Thank you.
Thank you.
That plan is on the internet. If you didn't find it online, I could send it to you, if you want to leave your email address.
That would be great. I looked for it, and I did send an email, but yeah, thank you.
Phil Abacino, Ravine Road. I don't know a lot about what's going on with the ambulance service other than what I've heard at meetings. And when I heard they wanted to go from 5 to 9 instead of 5 to 5, I thought it was a great idea. Response time is critical from what I understand. If you need ambulance service, that's one benefit all the residents of this town need. It's not something we should be talking about, find the money for it. Whatever you have to do. Response time, a minute or two could save somebody's life. So whatever you can do to speed this up and add more hours, I'm in favor of it. Thank you.
Mike Schroeder, just give you a little background. I'm going to speak about the ambulance. Been a member of the fire department for over 20 years here in Pleasant Valley. Also, full disclosure, because I know some people have assumptions, I'm also a career fire lieutenant in a department in Dutchess County. So I was reading the proposals that you guys got back, and it looks to me like we're going to charge the residents fire tax, because I don't think the ambulances are getting sold, are they?
No.
Okay, so they're going to be there. So we're paying fire tax to support the ambulances that are there. We have a special ambulance district tax, which is going to supplement the commercial service that we choose, or the board chooses. And then the way the contract is written, a resident is going to be billed for the service when they use it. So I just don't understand why we don't staff the 2 ambulances we have with firefighter EMTs. These commercial agencies, it's basically putting a Band-Aid on a knife wound. And in the long term, it's going to cost the town more money, because at some point, you're not going to have people going out to the fire calls. And it's not just the trend here, it's the trend across the state, it's the trend across the country. And it's no fault of anybody's own. The amount of stuff that you're exposed to, the increased risk that I have for cancer in my line of work, it increases dramatically. And to ask somebody to come out and to expose themselves for that, it's a lot to ask. So I just don't know what other options are being looked at, because there are other options out there, or if other intermunicipality agreements have been looked at as a consolidation of municipal services, because I can tell you, working the front line, that the problem's only going to get worse. There's been, I don't know how many companies the town of Pleasant Valley has had, probably 5, 6, and a majority of them have went out of business. And your business model, I mean, if you look at it as a business, your business model, the largest fire department in the world, the Fire Department City of New York, they run ambulances. They have an ambulance division. So I think you need to look at how the membership is utilized, because my department I work in as a career firefighter is a combination department as well. And you look at how you utilize your personnel, and it's nobody that's trying to force, you know, the volunteers out. I know it appears that way because people don't gather all the facts, they jump to assumptions, but you have to look at other avenues because the commercial services are not going to cover what we need. And my other concern with that was you have on there as an ALS contract. So you're telling me if I have an emergency between those 2 times of, I think it was 5 to 7, I'm going to get a paramedic. And if I have a heart attack or my family member has a heart attack after those contracted hours, I'm not going to have a paramedic that's sitting in town. I'm going to have to wait for it coming from Poughkeepsie, or I'm going to have to wait for it coming from East Fishkill, because that's an actuality. That's where these ambulances are coming from. And if you don't believe me, turn on your scanner, listen to your scanner. You can listen to it streaming, and you can hear what's going on in the county. Night times, weekends, it's not getting better, it's only getting worse. And everybody really needs to sit down and take an educated look at this. I mean, I've got studies that I can show you guys the difference in survivability between ALS care and BLS care. It's something that needs to be looked at more than just, hey, let's throw an RFP out and let's keep kicking the can down the road, because it's not going to work. It's not going to last forever, and the town's the town people are going to suffer for it. There you go.
Mr. Schroeder, before you leave, what are your thoughts ultimately? Oh, sorry, I was too close. On the town ultimately having a paid ambulance corps, since you seem to be pretty well educated on this.
I think you're better off with firefighter EMTs, because they can provide 2 services. So if you look at it from a business standpoint, you're going to pay X amount of dollars to somebody to sit here, and then ultimately you're going to have to hire people. It's the progression of what the fire service is, with an increased population and dwindling members. So down the road, when you need to put the other people on, you may be paying, let's say, $90 an hour as compared to $50 an hour. Why not get more bang for your buck and utilize people? Or you enter into a intermunicipality agreement with somebody else that already provides that level of care. It's not unheard of. I have a master's degree in public administration, and my concentration was in municipal consolidation. That's what I did my thesis on when I was awarded my degree. Anything else, sir?
No, thank you. I think
You're
you
welcome.
covered it pretty well.
Anyone else? On agenda items, anyone else?
Bob Ritchie, past commissioner for Pleasant Valley Fire Department. Okay. We, like any other department, are understaffed. Now, our neighboring department, Arlington, canceled their ambulance service, but they're gonna bring it back now, but just as an ambulance, because they found a way to go and charge their people that they're gonna pick up. We here in the town, as our ambulance service, don't have that luxury. So for us to go and put on more firemen, that's gonna go and fall onto the taxpayers' laps. And who's gonna look at the taxpayer and say, here, this is your new charge?
What was your name again, sir? I'm sorry.
Bob McRitchie.
Bob McRitchie. Anyone else? Agenda items only. Seeing none or hearing none, I move that we close the meeting to the public.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So, topic 1, contract for the ambulance service for the year 2023. We have 2 proposals in front of us. We've heard some comments. To clear up a few things, where did Mr. Albrecht go? Jim, just to let you know, I was homesick when those folks came to my office, just to let you know. And anyone who comes to my office, I entertain anything that I hear anything, that's number 1. So when someone comes to my office, I listen. I don't have my office shut down. It's not closed, it's open. Second, when the last meeting and the final request for hours, I was on the only vacation that I've taken. Well, it still wasn't a vacation. So I wasn't there for that, and just wanted that noted. Okay, so we have 2 proposals in front of us, Mobile Life and Empress. Anyone here on the board would like to discuss? I'm gonna let it go. Which way you want to go, guys? I don't have a horse in this race.
Well, I'm
so
just wondering,
We
do
should
we-
give it the most coverage we can possibly get, right?
Do we have the resolution that we tabled or a resolution that we can pass tonight with?
What we had before?
Yeah, because I mean,
But I
we're,
think those numbers were wrong at that time, correct?
no, but I mean, we could use that potentially as a template. I mean, we should be passing one of these tonight so they can staff and get ready for whatever, so. What's,
So what did we have tabled? Was that the
my computer's not here.
special meeting, I believe, at the budget meeting this afternoon?
I don't know the resolution.
I mean, I guess we can discuss it while we're, while we're trying to figure that out. So, yeah, I think, my personal opinion is I think we should pick one of these tonight. I mean, it's 2 weeks into December now, and they need to do this January 1st. To some of the points, I definitely think, and I think it was discussed kind of in some of the conversation, is that it would make sense if we're having trouble staffing this. I think it's been suggested that they potentially are looking at a long-term plan of maybe going to some paid firefighter, EMTs, paramedics, I don't know all, but obviously that takes that doesn't happen overnight. So we as a board have to make a decision on this, and like I said at the last meeting, if the fire commissioners are asking for this, and I mean, this is kind of nice, the letter that they gave us and broke it down. I mean, second dispatch, 28% outside the contract hours. It went to third dispatch, 8%. It's 36% of the time out of non-contracted hours, there's an extended response. So I just feel like it's the responsibility of us we don't know anything about this, and it's kind of unfortunate that we're responsible for doing this.
I agree.
So I think I would prefer if we go with the contract and that covers what they're asking for.
I agree with Mr. Reifenberg that we don't know as well as the fire department, and I think we should just, whatever this one-year contract is, sign this contract to cover, but I believe that we should put this firmly in the hands of the experts and have the fire department making these decisions going forward.
I don't think, well, so looking at the creation of the district with Emily, I don't necessarily know if we can do that so easily.
Well, not easily, but
Right,
nothing's
but-
easy in Pleasant
Well,
Valley.
no, of course not. I think we have to go with option 3 from Empress. It's the only price that's asking for what the fire commissioners asked for, which was 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday and 9 to 5 on Saturday and Sunday. Can we go back to something real quick that actually Mr. Schroeder said? So he talked about getting ahead of this for future years. We need to have a subcommittee that actually meets with the fire commissioners to do this. there was options that were presented to you, John, back in July 28th, that like we could have head this off if we knew about it back then. I only learned about it when I was invited to the fire commissioners meeting on November 21st. So, look, we have to head this off at the pass. So what I'm saying is we should approve option 3, but we should also put in place something that we can actually start acting now to move forward. So that way next year, we're not approving this in December. We can actually come up with a plan, say October.
Yeah, that's fine. Just to remind you that I started the conversations with the fire department back in February, and I did not have any idea as to what they're asking for until August. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole again. So we're here to discuss what's the best option for now. Empress seems to have the proposal that is the closely related to what their request is. That's it. So
Do we want to hold off on this until we can find, I mean, I guess, Emily, can I ask you, is something like this something that we can just do a motion? Or, I mean, I personally would feel more comfortable with a resolution, but
I'm just, do we know if we tabled the resolution
Yeah.
before?
We did.
So let's untable it and amend it.
Okay.
And then.
well,
adopt
do we
it.
just, is there any way to get copies of that? Just because we don't have them?
I mean, I can read it out loud to you if you want, or we could print it.
If you want
I
to-
trust her.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
I,
So,
we just don't know what's on table or.
do you have the number, the resolution?
I don't. It was November 7th, but
She doesn't have the number. So why don't we,
So can we just move on
Why don't we
until
move
we
on
get
until
copies
Mary-
of this?
yeah.
Or we could allow her to read the original resolution and then decide.
She doesn't have the number.
Oh, okay.
So we need to get a printed copy.
All right, so we'll move on to the next topic. Town clerk's office closure on 12/13/2020.
Well, why don't we wait for
Wanna
that one too?
skip over
She's
that
going
one.
to get the copy.
Okay. Let's go to number 3, the proposed trail closures. So, we received many inquiries about these, not inquiries, but letters of people upset about these trails being closed. I called the DEC, who's proposing to close some of them. I'm directed this to Mike, because you're the only one who got up and spoke, not you, Mike. And their statement was that they're closing some of them because they're not on a map. I guess it's about emergency responsing, that if there's a trail that's made and someone gets injured on it, they don't have any type of way of knowing where that is. So that was their basically unofficial statement. They were hoping to have time to be here. They couldn't be here for tonight. So I'm hoping for them to give us more information as to why they're closing and a little more elaborate. I believe it's just basically safety reasons. I'm not sure that they're considering closing all of them. I know that's not the case, the ones that they know about. I think that some trails have been made by other folks, and they just don't know about them. So when we get an official of what trails are and why, we'd have more information for you.
Yeah, and I definitely, if we can keep this on the agenda, circle back for
Yep.
next, I think it'd be important.
the comments on that are due December 22nd. So I don't know if the town wants to submit a comment. You might want to decide that
December 22nd?
so that you can.
We have our next board meeting, I think, right before that.
21st.
Oh, you're
So
right.
if we need
Yep.
to, we can make comments.
Permission to advertise for alternate planning? Well, she's not here for that either. Okay.
All we have to do is just give her, permission to advertise, right?
Right. Permission to advertise for alternate planning board members, town board, to the town clerk.
So moved.
We should, we should wait for, she has to
Okay.
record all this anyway, so,
Yeah.
are you doing it?
Thank you. Okay. So being that we have the number, I'll motion that we untable resolution number 1,104 of 2022.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
I'll then make a motion that we amend this resolution. We strike Mobile Life and replace with Empress. And we change the price of the contract from $207,500 to $465,318.
Second.
Well,
There's a little more.
there's more than that.
Yeah, hold on.
Why don't you read it, Emily?
Yeah, there's also a big change in hours here, so.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah, I see the one above it, sorry.
Okay, so authorizing contract with Mobile Life Support Services, so we're going to change that
To Empress,
to
yeah.
Empress for ambulance service for the year 2023. Whereas the town of Pleasant Valley contracts for the provision of ambulance service within the Pleasant Valley Fire District area, and whereas the town released an RFP for ambulance service for the years 2023 through 2024, requesting proposals for both the current hours of service as well as extended service hours. And whereas the RFP was sent to the companies offering service in the area and 2 companies submitted proposals, do you want to say, and whereas, do we want to add that they were asked for an additional proposal, or it doesn't really matter?
We could add that verbiage if you want, but I don't think it makes any difference.
Yeah, I don't
Doesn't
think so.
matter.
I don't think
Okay.
it matters. Whereas the town board has reviewed the proposals and determined that the proposal from Empress to provide advanced life support services between the hours of, and it's going to be...
5 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday, and Saturday and Sunday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. is the edit there.
represents the best option for the coming year. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board authorizes the town supervisor to execute a contract with Empress for ambulance service for the calendar year 2023 at a town subsidy cost of,
$465,318.
which contract will be prepared by the attorney to the town to reflect the town's needs and the terms of Empress's.
Empress.
Is it November 2nd?
I think it was.
No, it's a later one.
Yeah,
No,
hold
it's
on.
the,
He still dated it November 1st, actually. He didn't change the date on the front cover.
we'll say November 1st, 2022 proposal as amended?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mary Beth, did you get that, or do you want me to send that to you? Okay, great.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
So this is only for next year, so if,
Right.
if you
It's
want to
1 year.
reconsider for the next year.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Town clerk's office closure on 12/13/22 from 11:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. Mary Beth, would you like to elaborate?
Yes, my staff and I will be attending the Town Clerk Association's Christmas party.
Oh, sweet.
Okay. Okay, we already discussed that. And alternate planning board, Mary Beth, we had permission, gave you permission to advertise for alternate planning board members. Okay. Resolutions, authorizing acceptance, Town Board Resolution 1201-2022, authorizing acceptance of gifts to the town of Pleasant Valley. Whereas pursuant to Town Law 64-8, the Town Board of Pleasant Valley may take a gift, grant, bequest, or device, or hold real and personal property absolutely in or in trust of parks or gardens, or for the erection of statues, monuments, buildings, or structures, or for any public use, upon such terms or conditions as may be prescribed by the grantor or donor accepted by the said town, and provided for the proper administration of the same. Whereas the Town Board of Town of Pleasant Valley has received an offer of a donation, now therefore it be resolved that the Town Board and Town of Pleasant Valley, on behalf of all the residents of the Town of Pleasant Valley, hereby gratefully accepts the donation as specified below. Brady Excavating Incorporated to donate his time at Helen Aldrich site, work at the rate of $600 per day for 5 days. Do I hear a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1202, 2022, resolution accepting proposed local law to repeal local law number 3 of 2022, which authorized the town to override the tax levy limit. Whereas, as a precaution to the town board adopting the local law number 3 of 2022 to authorize an exceedance of the state tax levy limit for the fiscal year of 2023 budget. And whereas by resolution 1101, 2022, the town board adopted the fiscal year 2023 budget, which did not exceed the tax levy limit. And whereas the town board has determined it is in the best interest of the town to repeal the local law number 3, since the tax levy limit will not be exceeded in the fiscal year of 2023. Now therefore be resolved that the town board hereby accepts the proposed local law E of 2022 entitled A Local Law Repealing Local Law Number 3 of 2022, entitled Municipal Law 3C for commencement of the local law adoption process. And be it further resolved that the town board hereby schedules a public hearing on said local law to be held on December
When's our next meeting, 21st?
Yeah.
21,
Yep.
2022, at the Town of Pleasant Valley Town Hall at 7:05 PM at the public hearing and duly noticed by the town clerk as required by law. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, wait, we might have to, hold on. Our board meeting that week is the 20th, not the 21st. Mary
No, it's
just,
20
No, it's the
21st.
it's Wednesday?
Yep.
Oh,
Court's on 20th.
oh, we got the wrong date in your calendar then.
When was that, Jim?
Okay.
Okay. Local law E of the year 2022, a local law repealing local law number 3 of 2022.
No, you don't have to read that.
I don't have to read that again? Oh, good.
Thank God.
All right. Town Board Resolution Number 1203, 2022, appointment from alternate to full member of Zoning Board of Appeals. I thought it was planning.
I don't know. I think we advertised for the planning board, but I think this is ZBA, isn't it?
No, this is-
Planning Board.
Oh, I
Yeah,
don't
this
know.
is,
This is not right.
so you
I
want,
didn't,
that's fine. So all we gotta do is,
Change zoning to
you
planning.
you read it, we'll motion it, I'll edit it.
Okay, so appointment from the alternate to full member of Zoning Board of Appeals. We're going to change it to Planning
Well,
Board?
we gotta change it at the end, don't we? You gotta read it, when do we have to amend the agenda, amend the resolution after you read
Okay,
it?
whereas there now exists on the Town Board of Pleasant Valley Planning Board, the Zoning Board of Appeals, vacancy for a full-time member. Whereas Priya Jain is currently serving as an alternate member of the ZBA, has expressed an interest in being appointed to the full member of the Planning, now it says Zoning Board of Appeals. Now therefore be resolved that the Town Board of the Pleasant Valley does hereby designate the appointment of Priya Jain as full member of the Planning Board of Appeals to fill the remainder of the term effective immediately as follows. Appointment December 5th, 2022. Term expires February 16th, 2026. Priya Jain. So we got to go back and...
Yep, I'll make a motion, well, I'll make a motion. Someone else is gonna second.
Second.
I'll make a motion that we amend this. We remove zoning board of appeals and just replace that with planning, or planning board, rather.
I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we have a motion to accept. And a second.
Yep.
All in favor of Priya Jain?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Old business, Indoor Pickleball League, update. Our Recreation Director.
Hello? Okay. Just want to make sure it was on. Okay, so I have a meeting set up the week of December 12th with one of the recreation directors who's had pickleball in her town, and then actually the person who's going to spearhead it from the community. So I'm hoping by the next meeting, I can have some kind of a resolution for whatever kind of fees registration fees we would have. The big question is scheduling. That's the big nut that has to be cracked. I guess I should stay up.
Yep, stay right there.
Okay, as far as the monies for the work on the depression, having spoken to Melanie, I believe we're going to use a lot of the extra revenue that Recreation brought in this year. So that was my impression. The status of the new well. Greg Bolner is coordinating with Superintendent Baxter. They should start digging sometime this week. So nothing's in stone yet. I know he wanted to coordinate it with him. Yeah. Could I jump to security at the parks, or do you want me to sit down and come back
Oh,
up?
we can jump to it, yeah. Let's while you're standing there, go ahead.
Okay, so security at the parks, you were gonna look into Bauer to see if that acquisition of the land, before we I get some vendors out there to give us proposals.
Yeah, so Warren Raplansky's coming to the next meeting on the 21st, and he's going to review that.
Oh, good. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks.
Credit card acceptance update, Councilman Riffelberg.
That's actually Councilman Albrecht, Councilwoman Albrecht.
Tom has been away from M&T, but our next step is to have everything made up with signature cards, and they're going to come here to have you do it.
Okay, great, excellent. And then-
Otherwise, everything is in place.
Okay, excellent. Granicus agenda and meeting software,
Yes.
Councilman Reifenberg, right?
So we've had 2 meetings with Granicus, Jen and I, since the last meeting, our last town board meeting. The first meeting, we went over the hardware requirements. So one of the nice things is we'll be able to get rid of this computer and not have to use that for the live stream. Also, the live stream will be integrated into our website. It'll have clickable links after the meeting's over, so if you want to just go to one specific agenda item, you'll be able to go and just watch that one. So we're working with, I believe, Dave on looking at the hardware. We basically have to take the audio and video and combine it into one input. And then the second meeting, we went over templates. There's some changes we need to, make to the minutes in the agenda format that we use to kind of make it work with the software. The biggest thing that's going to be kind of a hurdle to get over is us, the planning board, and the ZBA. If you look at our forms and our agendas and minutes, they're completely different from each other. So I think what's going to end up having to happen is we're going to kind of go with our format, and they can pick and choose what they want on it, but it's going to be in the same format. So it'll kind of be nice for the residents as well, because it all will look the same. So
So the planning board and the zoning board have to go to our format.
it's going to be the same format, but they can choose, if they don't want roll call on their agenda, they just click a button and it doesn't put roll call on their agenda. But it will look the same. Everything will have the standard look for the town, which will be nice. We're setting up a meeting with them we finally got I forget what they call them. It's basically going to be our manager that does everything, and we're going to start getting into training with the town clerk, with Jen and the secretaries to kind of start the process of setting up our initial trainings. So we're moving.
Excellent. Okay. All right, without any further ado, we're opening the meeting back up to the public. One time only. Keep it brief. I see we have a lot of people, and like I said, there will be no character bashing, no assassinating, no pointing fingers, no nothing.
Are we going to set a time limit?
Do we want to do that?
We just talked about it.
Look, so let me save a lot of people. We're fully aware of what happened. We're fully aware of everything. So if you're planning on getting up and expressing your distaste about something that happened last weekend, we know it. We're taking steps to rectify that it doesn't happen again. So that saves anybody a lot of pain. I hope so. Anything else? Anyone would like to say anything else?
Well, I'll make a motion that we open the meeting to the public.
Yep.
I'll second
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Mark Gugliozzi, Pleasant View Road. Comment about the ambulance issue. One thing to consider very seriously is what Michael Schroeder said about looking at full-time people that would be under that. As far as funding that, there's over $400,000 here. There's money in the fire department's budget, although the town, I don't believe legally can transfer money to the fire department. They can take that out of their budget, and the fire department can put it in their budget, and therefore it's a wash as far as to the taxpayer, the money that's being expended. That said, quite surprised at the approach to this. I would think that the commissioners would have thought about this issue and the situation that they're in before spending $400,000 on the building that's on Main Street in front of them. I think that was not a wise decision. I don't know if appraisal was done or not, which is required by law, but it seems to be an excessive amount of money for that building. And I think the taxpayer money could have been much better spent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Paul McLaughlin. I know you don't want to talk about what happened Saturday, but I'm not going to look backwards. It is important that you look forwards. I agree. You're saying the right words. You're saying I condemn it. But at the same time, I guess there was an issue with the Pleasant Valley Day Parade, and I'm sure that didn't go off as smoothly as you wanted. And I know there was an issue with the Black Lives Matter march in town, and you condemn that. So I appreciate you condemning these things. But as the board, because I'm not going to blame anybody else, as a leadership of this town, this has got to be fixed. It's not acceptable you come in here and said, it's not, and I'm talking to all of you, that's saying that this shouldn't have happened, I condemn it. This is a trend. We do not need Waukesha, right? We don't need this going to the next step. And I can pull out 3 instances where walks down that road, something went wrong. This goes back a couple years now. It's got to stop. You guys own it. I appreciate you saying you're going to fix it, and let's hope you fix it better than you did for the last 2 things, because this is not an isolated instance, and you know that. And I don't want to be sitting here again 6 months from now when you get to say, I condemn that action. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Greg Straley, Pleasant Valley. I turned in some complaint forms back on 10/6 of '22 about the noise at 4:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30, and so forth. These complaint forms been turned in for I don't know how many years, and I have not got an answer. The noise is still taking place, and I'd like to know what's happening. It's more or less a nuisance also.
Are you finished?
Yeah.
Okay, I
yeah.
didn't want to interrupt you.
No, that's fine.
So my co-town attorney, Warren Raplansky, is managing that issue, and he has met with some of the relevant folks and is planning to come to the next meeting and discuss the results with the board.
All right. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Bev Doppel, Creek Road. I'm a little bit confused about this ambulance thing. A couple of meetings ago when it was discussed, I was under the impression that this is something that the town wanted to do. They wanted to bring in the ambulance to help the fire, to support the fire company?
No.
Or is this something the fire company is requesting, but maybe they weren't given enough information as to what you had? I'm really confused by it.
No.
And the other thing is, I quickly looked over the proposals, and the prices are outrageous. In 3 years, going this way, it's gonna cost $500,000. That's a hell of a lot of money. I mean, I, as you know, support the fire company 100%, and I think it would seem to me that the decision as to what ambulance group is brought in would rest with them, but that's only my opinion. I'm really confused about the whole thing.
Can I,
It's-
Mr. Supervisor, do you mind if I? Because
Go right ahead.
I'm just going to talk about the creation of the district. Just
Yep.
ultimately, the town board is responsible for what services are provided in the ambulance district, just how, because of how it was created.
Okay.
It sounds crazy, and I've argued this because we know nothing about.
Correct.
Like, I'm not a fire professional. I'm not, right? So that's why we asked the commissioners, "What do you need?" Right? So, unfortunately, the decision does lie with us. Unfortunately.
Okay.
Right. And that
Well-
is why I kind of suggested, and we look forward to the future, where we can maybe have this shifted to the fire department, who are the professionals.
Absolutely.
They know who they get along with better. For instance, you know, they know who responds. They work with, like recently, Mobile Life. If there's a call, they meet the person. They work really well with the company. They're going to have to set up a new relationship with this company, but you know, they know better than we do who responds better, who's better on the truck, who's where. They know better than we do.
Right.
It really should not rest on the town board's head to just make these decisions. It
Agreed.
should be in the fire department's
Agreed.
decision.
The other
And it would
question-
be just a shift. It would just be a shift of the same money to the,
Got it. The other question I had was, knowing the exorbitant fees that the ambulance service charges to the residents. Now, when you're talking about this monetary contract that you have, this is what the town is going to pay the ambulance service to service Pleasant Valley.
correct.
Now, if they get called to my house, am I going to also receive a bill from
You
that
are.
ambulance service?
You are.
That, to me, is outrageous. I mean,
Just to clarify, the bill is limited to what the insurance will cover.
Right.
And so what the ambulance district pays is a subsidy for the ambulances to be available during certain hours. And then the state law limits what they can charge the actual patient that they're transporting to what the insurance will cover. So they wouldn't also, to my understanding, they don't also send any additional bill.
well, they'll never go broke, that's for sure. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Dan McRitchie, Pleasant Valley Agency. I had asked a few things a few meetings back, probably about 6-7 months ago now. One is the addressing of the plaza that I'm in, the Acme Plaza. I've spoken to my landlord, spoken to someone at the fire department, and spoken to Dutch County 911. There is no actual 911 setup in there, which is dangerous because there's 14 to 15 businesses in there. I know Councilman Mazzella had an issue, and when you call 911, they don't know where to go.
That's true.
When I first moved into that plaza, I was giving a piece of paper with shading on it to show where my business is. And then when you call Verizon, Spectrum, Central Hudson, they all have different things listed. So it's very dangerous at this point for anyone in that plaza, if they have an emergency, for someone to get there. You know, if it's a heart attack, you don't know which building it is. I've been told I'm Building 17, Building 13, Suite 3, Suite 5. This is going back to the issue, and one of the things with the ambulance. You know, if someone has to respond there, where do they go? So it's an issue. I've tried to get it addressed. I'm not getting any answers, so if someone could look into that.
Dan, who did you call, do you know?
I spoke to Tom Murphy at the fire department beginning of this year. Called Dutchess 911, got no response from them, and I spoke to my landlord. He did nothing. So,
I didn't mean to laugh, but.
Thank you.
I mean,
and in regard to the fire department and the ambulance service, I never really understood how things worked in the town, even being a prior insurance agent for the fire department, with the disconnect between the town and the fire department. To me, fire and ambulance services are probably the most important thing in our town. And the fact that the fire department and at least a committee, if not the board, don't get together for things like this, since I can remember, I mean, it seems ridiculous to me. I mean, the fire department should be coming to you, telling you what they need, working with a committee, and getting this done. It seems simple to me, but, you know, maybe I'm wrong. In regards to them buying the building, don't really see the need for the comments on that from someone who bought a building that's not being used right now.
Okay, we're not gonna,
What's the point? I mean,
I got the point.
did the fire department have the
Point's
right
been
to
made,
buy
Point's
it?
been made, got it. Point's made.
And my final point is on the parade. I will put it in writing, but I would like to ask for no profanity, no politics in any town parades from now on. And it was disgusting. I've got a 5-year-old daughter, didn't need to see that. And hundreds of kids there that didn't need to see that. So I would ask something gets done about that right away.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello, Kathy Hickman, Pleasant Valley. Just a quick question about the contract. So are we clear that we will not be balance billing patients for any ambulance rides with the paid service? That's really, really important to know. So, which means that an ambulance will come to their house, you will pay as a town $100,000, then their insurance will be billed for the service, and there'll be no balance billing. So a resident will not get a bill? I just want to be super clear about that, because that's not the way it's been done over the years.
Right, and there was litigation about that.
Okay, now I'm happy to hear that, because I know it wasn't that way. So if this is going to be that way, that's great to know, because that's something we'll always hear.
do you want my copy of that? I have millions of copies of this. Do you want my copy of
Oh,
the
I'd
EMS?
love one. I was part of the negotiations last time we
Like,
did
have
this several years
these
ago.
emailed to us on the, you know, take it.
Yeah, I mean, there is, if, there's a negotiated, my understanding, there's a negotiated insurance amount. The resident may have a copay or something like that, but they're not allowed to do balance billing. and
Okay,
we'll
so
make sure
co-pays,
that's in the-
yes, balance billing, no. Okay, just because that's been a problem for many years with many agencies in many districts. So
Yeah.
as long as we're clear that that's not going to be a problem, that'll be helpful to know.
The state attorney general has been taking that on.
That's great, because just be aware. Thank you.
Well, you know, right now I'd like to piggyback on this young lady's question and say, what if we have a resident that does not have health insurance, and yes, we still do have some? What happens to them?
I'll check. I don't want to answer out of turn, but my understanding is that it's limited to what the insurance companies, you know.
Well, here again, usually there are two different prices, and a lot of you know this from history. between someone that has insurance and, okay, you have to accept what the insurance will pay. And then you have someone who does not have insurance that will cover an ambulance ride. And what can the contractor charge them?
Mm-hmm. He's correct.
Thanks.
Thank you, Kathy. Anyone else? Not seeing anyone, I move that we close the meeting to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This time we
Go
like
back
to
into
move back into executive session.
Yeah, I'll make the motion. We go into executive session for 101.5F.
Can we also do attorney-client?
And
Yes, we
attorney-client.
item while
Yes,
we're
we
there?
can.
Thank you.
Second?
Second.
We will not be
Already
taking
got it.
any actions, folks, so please,
Don't feel the need, yeah.
don't feel the need to stay around.
We have to vote. You have a motion and a
Oh,
second.
I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion that we come out of executive session
I
at
second.
8:54 PM.
I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
A second. All in favor?
Aye.